To me, this Honda Grom is something that really scaled the whole mini bike movement. The whole mini bike movement. Sorry, cannot do really movie voices, but you got an idea. Now I've got the smile on my face, 2020 Honda Grom for review, and today we're gonna figure it out, what this 2020 Honda Grom is all about. After riding Z125, Benelli TNT 135, I've got this Grom, and today I'm gonna give you the full picture of what Honda has to offer. My name is Dennis, this is for Live Test Drive, and nope, we're not gonna go yet. Support the mini bike movement, most definitely. And if you like honest and independent reviews, subscribe to our channel, ring the bell and watch the newest videos every single week. We do cars, bikes, parts, gear, every single week. We don't ask you to buy the merch, not even a sticker. Underneath there is no PayPal link to make a donation. How do we survive? That's a good question, I still keep asking myself. But every single week we're gonna bring you the newest and coolest cars and motorcycles. Support the channel, support the mini bike movement, and now to the 2020 Honda Grom. My name is Dennis, this is for Live Test Drive, shall we? Let's catch some wind. Woo! That's so good. Woo-hoo! Okay, refueling. That's the best part about Honda Grom. Look, I'm down to empty. No. Nah, something is there. But you're about to find out how cheap it is to refuel Honda Grom. Ready? Okay. 91. 3, 2, 1. And we have a full tank. Even a bit more than a full tank. So, ready? Dot, 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 dot. Less than a gallon. I'm a smaller than Jeep, I'm a faster than Jeep. Da, 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 da. Let's talk about style for a second. You don't have any boring colors to choose, right? No white, no black, nothing grayish. You have orange, blue, red. I mean, this one is all about fun, right? So it should be fun and colorful. Up front you got this bright and cool looking headlight. I mean, it looks like a transformer or something. Something more like hyper naked, because it's basically super small and super hyper naked. So if mini moto is not gonna be a trend, Honda can simply change the style, change the name, and say mini hyper naked moto, and it's gonna be popular. I'm just kidding. I believe it's a cool style. This headlight is absolutely unique, and when you see one of those rolling down the street, you know for sure this is Honda Grom. You know, there's something else that you probably don't know yet, but Honda built in the frame sliders, if I can call it this way. If you look left and right, the widest point of this bike, those two white plastic pieces. And this is a part of the fairing, so in case you tip over the bike, you can simply replace those two white pieces. You can simply replace one of those and no more scratches. It's been built for fun, so it's quite expectable that you can drop it. When it comes to the seat height, it's roughly 30 inches, so anyone, and I'm saying anyone, can easily touch the ground. For the reference, I'm about 6'1", 6'2". It depends whether it's too hot today and I'm melting or not. But anyways, I'm about 6'1", 6'2", and 200 pounds. And it's pretty easy for me in terms of the seat height. I can easily stand up and I can easily hold this bike, because nothing really can be so light, so nimble, so easy to play with. I mean, Honda Grom is built as a perfect beginner's bike. Some haters will tell you, oh, I mean, it's a kid's bike, oh, it's a scooter. Well, I can show you what this bike is capable of doing. I can be as fast as you are on whatever, like 300, 400 cc, even the 600 Super Sport, if we pick the tight corners and I don't need to accelerate hard on a straight line. I can be as fast as 600 cc if you pick the right road. I do enjoy corners, and that's why I do enjoy Honda Grom. If you ever, if you ever want to be a good rider, you have to try it out. First of all, you will learn what's the aerodynamics and how you have to lean forward in order to pick up some speed. This is something that you probably never ever gonna learn on super sport bike, because you got power. You don't have to really control tiny details in order to go fast. Smaller bikes can teach you a lot. Let's go back to the styling. I mean, I don't like these classy looking mirrors, especially when you combine it with these modern headlights. I think this is the first thing that I would take off from my bike if I would buy a Honda Grom. I don't like them. In terms of ergonomics, the foot pegs are quite low. It means comfortable ride. Taller people like myself can fit here. Yes, I cannot fit my knees here. But if you're less than 6 foot tall, I think it's gonna be pretty easy for you to ride it like this, instead of roll and bolt. I should say it, this is gonna be the same in terms of the grabbing the gas tank with your knees when it comes to Z125 and Honda Grom. I was able to ride both of them, and if you have any specific questions in terms of comparing those two bikes, leave the comment down below. I will make sure to help you out. Now, like I said, you have the foot pegs quite low, and when you go through the corners hard and you have a proper body position, you're gonna hear your foot pegs scraping the ground even before you'll be somewhere close to the maximum lean angle. Talking about lean angle, well, those tires are okay. Not that bad as you will see on Benelli 125. This is like a worst nightmare when it comes to tires on a smaller bike. Those tires are pretty good, and if you're buying it as a first motorcycle, I would stick to them at least for quite some time, because before you'll be capable of pushing corners hard, you can spend some time on this rubber, and it's gonna be totally enough if you keep reasonable boundaries. In terms of the upgrade, I would say you have only two options. First option would be Pirelli, second would be Michelin Power Pure scooter tire. Those tires would be a definitely great upgrade after you learn how to push this bike to the limits. By the way, we're gonna set up the Michelin Power Pure on one of our bikes on Benelli TNT 135. If you want to check out this video, Make sure to subscribe, click the ring bell, and you'll get the notification as soon as this video will be up. One of the downsides, this suspension set got zero adjustability. You cannot adjust the preload, you cannot do it on the front fork, you cannot do it on the rear. But you know, surprisingly, for me, it feels a little bit too hard because I'm a heavy guy. And definitely after the new tire set, you can go and swap the suspension. See, I said nothing about exhaust and intake. Because I wouldn't even recommend to go anywhere until you swap the tires, until you do the proper suspension, and that's the point where you're gonna be ready for more power. You know what's even more shocking? Honda expects you to bring a passenger on this bike. I really wanna see like 400 pounds on this bike climbing uphill, if it's possible or not. Well, maybe we should do it. Alright, enough fun. When it comes to the front fork, I wish to have a little bit stiffer front suspension, especially for my weight. I don't even remember having the same issue on any other bike. And this one, when I'm pulling to the gas station and you have this sharp angle, the front tire slams the suspension all the way to the limits, and in my view would be a great idea to make it a little bit stiffer. I don't know if it's possible to add the preload on this bike, but that's something that would change this bike drastically. If I would compare this suspension set between Kawasaki Z125, Benelli TNT 135 and this Honda Grom, I do believe the Honda Grom has the softest suspension set between those three bikes. Like I mentioned earlier, when you go to the gas station, you're gonna have a big smile on your face. I mean, you just put a gallon and you're just gonna go and spend more than 100 miles on your favorite road. Then you're gonna bring the bike back to the gas station, so you can easily get over 100 miles per gallon, even if you're gonna keep this engine revving 6,000-7,000 RPMs. If you're just gonna casually ride it somewhere in the city and average somewhere between 30-40 miles per gallon, I do believe you can easily get 150 miles on one tank. Think about it, this bike weighs, with all the fluids, with gas in it, everything, 229 pounds. I mean, it's so beautiful to ride it, it's so easy to ride it, and you can spend a day putting some miles on it, and after that you'll still be able to walk, you'll still be able to talk, and you would still want to go back and repeat it again. It's super easy to ride, it's fun to ride, and surprisingly it's pretty fast. I mean, 60 miles an hour, that's more than enough if you do enjoy twisty roads. Let's talk about engine. 129cc air-cooled single-cylinder engine, fuel injected. You know, the Honda claims this engine is capable of producing 9.7 horsepower and stunning 8 pound-feet of torque. I think you can get easily like 20-30% more horsepower and torque numbers if you just simply replace the exhaust, play with the intake, and get a good quality power commander. When you ride it, you don't feel it. When you stop at the red light, you can tell this engine just screams, "Please let me breathe!" and it's vibrating a lot. So not only you can get more power, you can make it smoother. Yes, definitely, Honda Grom would be the most expensive option when you compare it between Grom Benelli TNT 135 and Kawasaki Z125. But at the same time, if you do plan to make some upgrade, Honda Grom got more parts available and it would be less money when it comes to upgrades. I mean, you're all probably wondering how fast is the 2020 Honda Grom. A little downhill would help me a lot. This bike is built to make you a better rider. As you can tell, it can easily go like 50-55 miles an hour. Yes, California highways when you have 65-70 miles an hour speed limit is not ideal for Honda Grom. And yes, you're gonna redline this bike all the time, which is not good at all. But if you can simply skip the highways and enjoy this beautiful weather, this beautiful scenery, and just go 50 miles an hour, because you're not in the rush, you just want to learn how to ride, you just want to enjoy this beautiful weather. If you got the super sport bike but you want to be a better rider, get the Honda Grom. It can teach you way more than any other bike on this planet. Well, another thing that I don't like about this 2020 Honda Grom is this engine is not capable to holding you downhill. I had a few cases where we had to park downhill and you can simply push this bike and you see what's gonna happen. It can go forward. This engine is not capable of holding it. So make sure to find a curve or something to park this bike securely. And since I'm talking about the stuff that I don't like, I should say I'm not a big fan of this gearbox shifter, because when you get to the top gear, which is the fourth gear, you don't have anything to tell you this is the top gear. The shifter goes up the same way it's gonna go between third and fourth gear and so on. So to me it's quite confusing to understand that I'm riding on the highest gear right now, and sometimes you gotta do it a few times before you realize, man, I'm on the first gear already. Another thing, I have US 12 boot. Look, it's quite challenging to get your kickstand because this ring is very close to the foot peg and it's not easy. All right, it's pretty hard to get the kickstand up. And yes, sometimes shifting on the second gear, you can easily miss it. To summarize, I'm not a big fan of this shifter and I'm not a big fan of this gearbox. The seat is surprisingly comfortable. We got this bike with 100 miles on it. Right now it's 456 miles, so I got a chance to ride it for over 300 miles, and I can tell you for sure this seat is pretty comfortable and my body position is relaxed and you can enjoy it every single day. But you gotta remember one simple thing, or you at least can read this sticker on the gas tank. It says pretty easy, or you can read this sticker on the gas tank. So yes, you can get this bike with ABS, but it's gonna be only front ABS. There is no ABS for the rear tire. And in order to compensate that, Honda decided to make the rear brakes a little bit on the softer side, so it's not that easy to lock the rear tire. And I do think having ABS, at least the front ABS on this bike, is pretty amazing thing to have. So definitely getting the Honda Grom, you will have the best brakes when you compare to Z125 or Benelli TNT 135. Honda Grom is the only bike where you can at least get the ABS for the front wheel. But even before you're gonna be right here in terms of the lean angle, you're gonna be scraping your foot pegs. You thought riding a mini bike means without the gear? Well, that's the worst idea. Honda Grom can offer ABS as an option. Apparently Z125, Benelli TNT 135, none of them got ABS. And why we don't have something for the city, for newer riders? We do need ABS on a smaller bike. I don't get it! But Honda, bravo for keeping the new riders safe. Even though it's an option for extra money, but you at least have this option. We're also gonna do the comparison review, so make sure to subscribe. You will see the Honda Grom right next to the Benelli TNT 135.
So I promised to tell you what this 2020 Honda Grom is all about. Yes, it's definitely friendly for a newer rider. I mean, if 125 is not good enough for you and you just got your license, I'd say save some sweat and save some time. Just drive your car. When it comes to experienced riders, well, you can change your thinner too. Especially you can swap the tires, change the intake, change the exhaust and put the fuel commander, and this thing is gonna be blast on twisty roads. But for most of the newer riders, you need time to figure it out. So start with something like Honda Grom. I promise you will never regret it.